All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us. Today, we'll be discussing ways which you can empower your entire organization to deliver effortless customer experiences and increase long-term loyalty. My name is Ajda Laprade, Director of Product Marketing at ServiceNow, and I'm joined by my colleague Brittany Quinlan, Technical Product Marketing Manager at ServiceNow, and a special guest, Chris Warticki, Vice President of Customer Experience and Advocacy at Epicor. So today we'll walk you through effective ways to help your organization best serve your customers and drive loyalty. And we'll also get to see everything that we discuss come to life in a demo from Brittany. And of course, we have Chris Warticki, who will share Epicor's journey to improve their customer experiences. But before we get started, I want to run a little poll. All right, so we want to understand a little bit about where we are all in our customer experience journey here. So the question we have for you is, where are you focusing your customer experience investments this year? So we'll just take a minute here to let responses come in. All right. This year's going to be a big year, I have a feeling. So I'm excited to see what some of you are responding. All right, answers are coming in. 10 more seconds. All right, let's go ahead and close the poll and see what we've got. Okay, so the vast majority, I would say, of you are focusing on customer service tools and technologies and internal process improvements. All right. So I think you're going to find a lot of this discussion today really interesting because obviously we are trying to improve customer experience across the board. And as a matter of fact, this quote here is absolutely phenomenal. I find it truly powerful because if you think about it, you do need to give your customers fewer reasons to be disloyal. And the best way to make that happen is to reduce customer effort. So let's think about that for 1 second. We all know that to be competitive in today's market, it's no longer solely based on having the better product or the best price, right? Customers evaluate brands based on their experiences and the experiences that they have with those brands and how easy it is to do business with them. So if you think about it, over the last 20 plus years, most customer experience investments have been on engagement. So making a variety of channels for customers available so that they can engage on the channel of their choosing, whether it be phone, email, chat, social media, text, or SMS. Whew, that's a lot of channels. But that is only half the equation, right? So once you've opened up all these channels for support, you must have the right people, processes, and systems in place to fulfill those requests and at scale. So how many of you, just think about those times where you've requested support only to have the request seemingly go into a dark hole, and then you call in and you get transferred a few times, or you need to repeat your issue all over again? It can feel like the left hand isn't talking to the right, and honestly, it just seems messy. Just like the slide, right? This is where effort on the customer side skyrockets and leaves customers absolutely frustrated, and we can all empathize with that. You know, the truth is, many critical issues that come in need to be taken care of by experts in other parts of the organization that do work on behalf of the customer. So, all right, we're going to go into another poll. And we want to hear from you. What are some of the common challenges that you face in your organizations today? So let's go ahead and get your answers in. perhaps what we just discussed here is starting to feel familiar, right? Let's get some answers. What is the top challenge you face in your customer service organization today? All right, we've got some answers coming in here. This is going to be good. Okay, so let's see what we've got. Siloed departments and systems takes the lead. Okay. And then followed by reacting to service requests versus being proactive. Yes. And so what we'll be discussing today, I think will definitely resonate with some of you. And I think that also perhaps what we'll discuss will further inspire certain paths forward to help you through in improving those customer experiences. If anything, we'll be learning today that it really takes a village. You probably heard that saying before, right? And that's the truth, even when it comes to providing exceptional customer service. Not just one team or department is responsible. All parts of the organization need to work together to deliver a frictionless experience. So by connecting people, processes, and systems, you have a powerful system of action, enabling companies across their front, middle, and back offices to deliver effortless experiences for both customers and employees. And what's great is that with ServiceNow, you can break down work into a series of tasks built into your workspace to guide you through a workflow and assign tasks to other individuals and teams. And because we break down work into tasks, work can happen in parallel, not just consecutively. So that speeds up time to resolution. And because it's all on one platform, everyone involved has full end-to-end visibility into the case. And customers see updates on next steps, potential delays, and an estimated time to resolution. So in a nutshell, work is routed efficiently, it's completed faster and effortlessly. Everyone involved has visibility, including the customer. So really, that's a win-win for everyone. So what are the best ways to achieve these effortless experiences and accelerate time to resolution? I think the first is to automate those routine work tasks, all those common requests. An example might be, for example, a password reset or an address change. And I'm sure that there are more complex processes that are still very common. But by automating those things, this will free up time for agents and employees to focus on more high-value work for the customer. And then secondly, it's implementing and automating self-service so that customers can take action from a personalized portal, or request common services. But even taking that to the next level is requesting those common services and having them automatically get routed to the right department without having to contact a rep. And then the third is to monitor your customer services and products so that when issues do occur, you can resolve them proactively before customers are even aware and only alert those customers that are impacted. So let's expand on these three areas and bring them to life in a demo. So Brittany, take it away.
Thank you so much, Ajda. And thanks to everyone who showed up for this webinar today. Today, we're going to highlight a few innovations within customer service management that improve the process from end to end. And we're going to feature these highlights in a B2B scenario with Solana, which sells home and office security systems, and Boxio, their business customer with branches across the country. And we're going to start with our customer, Julie, at Boxio. She's here on her business's portal, and she can review their products, check out their support portal, and get updates on all of their current orders. And as she's browsing the portal, she gets a notification about some recent support tickets that need her attention. Now, this interaction is powered by Engagement Messenger. Engagement Messenger allows you to create, configure, enable, and disable modules based on what your customers need. You can include modules like those support reminders here, or special offers, or access to your knowledge base, and you can even import your field service offerings. Talk about a vast array of self-service options to improve that customer experience. But the reason Julie's on the portal today is that she recently learned about the next generation of security cameras that Solana offers, and she wants to see if she can add these cameras to her recent order. So, in a few clicks, she's able to start a chat with a live agent, John here. She asks him if she's able to add those new cameras to her order before that order ships out. But, she steps away for a meeting. Now, when we transition to John's view here, we can see that with his CSM configurable workspace, he's able to get a full view into Julie as a customer and all of her orders. He lets Julie know that, yep, she can still add to that order, and he's going to wait for her response on quantity. Now, when we switch back to Julie's portal, we can see that even though when she stepped away, the chat that she initiated wasn't closed, it wasn't canceled, and there's a notification that John's responded. She lets him know that she wants to go ahead and add 100 cameras to that business order that she's got going. Now, similarly, when John returns from his break, he's notified of that ongoing chat from Julie. Now we can see this chat here, we can see her interaction. And here with order management for customer service, agents are able to get a more complete view into that order lifecycle. They're empowered for the very first time ever to make changes to orders, to addresses, and even more. And they're able to make these changes right away, reducing the amount of time from that initial order to that final fulfillment. Now, John's going to go ahead and drill down into this recent order, and he clicks New to add the camera line item. He selects that camera, and here within a few clicks, he's able to add the model, add the order quantity, and click Save. Now, all of these changes are immediately reflected in the order details. And because the other routine work and common requests, like Ajda mentioned, were already automated, John's time was freed up to help Julie with this more high-value request. Now, as you might have noticed, we've got a brand new view for our service agents, which have been enhanced with our Next Experience. With the Next Experience, agents have everything they need in a modern, accessible user interface. They start here in their configurable workspace, showing their important cases and the information. They can pin and unpin menus as they need. Their Favorites tab shows features and pages that they access frequently, and their History tab allows the agents to return to recently visited pages and workspaces quickly. Now, dark mode is another feature that we've enhanced with the Next Experience. John spends a ton of his time here in the UI, and dark mode here helps reduce eye strain and fatigue. Now, all of these features help make agents way more effective. But service does not start and end when the customer reaches out, right? The best service can be proactive. So customer service and IT operations management, or ITOM, as many of you know, these together allow for the proactive monitoring and notification before problems grow out of control. So we're going to switch over to our network engineer, Amelia, who's logged in to the operator workspace. Amelia notices that there's a problem with the video streaming event services. Now, by diving into this product alert, Amelia is able to learn a little bit more about the issues, how many customers are impacted. She clicks into the related alerts, and we can see that there's a couple more parts to this. There seem to be quite a few related alerts. So Amelia's going to go ahead and come in here and create a case. She can describe this issue, add some details, and submit this case to save it. Now, what this does is creates the case, and she has suggested this as a major case. So when this case manager clicks into this and reviews the details, takes a look, sees that it's a major case candidate here, she's able to go in and approve this as a major case, which starts a workflow. The benefit here of having a major case is that child cases, you can see this button here for create child cases, that child cases can be added. So if a customer calls in with a related issue, the agent's able to attach it to this major case here, meaning that the customers have access to and receive updates on the status of it. So now here, in just a few steps, we are able to identify the problem, create a plan, and communicate that problem and any scheduled repairs to the affected customers. And that, on a high level, is how you can deliver effortless end-to-end service with customer service management. Back to you, Ajda.
Wow, that was an incredible demo, Brittany, and I'm loving the next experience. So you've all seen how customers can leverage self-service and engage with your brand, how agents can quickly provide support when equipped with the intelligent tools and data that they need, all whilst automating routine processes and equipping service teams with what they need to provide proactive service, especially when major issues arise that might impact multiple customers. So that was great. Thank you, Brittany. Now I'd like to turn it to our guest speaker, Chris Warticki, who is deep into all things customer experience at Epicor. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Ajda. It's great to be here with you and the audience today.
Absolutely. We're happy to have you. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about Epicor and your role and what keeps you up at night these days.
Certainly. Epicor is an ERP software company, 50-year-old company that is focuses on the make, move, and sell part of the supply chain industry. So chances are if you have a manufacturing facility or distribution center or retail store of some sort, Epicor's got a certain market share in those types of facilities. My role here within Epicor as the Vice President of Customer Experience is to look at the sum total of all of the engagement and relationship touch points that our lines of business and employees have with all of our customers. What keeps me up at night is mostly making sure that as we talk about customer experience, and that terminology gets really muddied as we talk about customer service, customer satisfaction, customer advocacy, it really needs to be delineated. And so when we look at customer experience, it's that every organization, every department, every line of business looks at what is my experience that the customer has with me, with us, with our organization. And if we look at the customer life cycle from the time that they are aware of your company, your product, or your service at the very beginning, then they might have an interaction with that product, service, or person. Then they go ahead and have other multiple interactions. There's a purchase that takes place. There is an experience using that product or service. And then there might be, in our case, a renewal or maintenance of that product or service. And then we go through cross-sell, upsell, resell. That entire life cycle is what keeps me up at night, making sure that the sum total of all of that is meeting our customers' expectations.
I'm really glad to hear that. And actually, I love how you're unpacking really what customer experience means. And to your point, it's all the touch points that a customer is going to have with your brand. And a lot of those touch points can help really tell if a customer is going to continue to grow with you as your company grows and still be there to enjoy all the benefits, but also really, help provide some feedback, or if they might have some bad experiences that would compel them to attrit. And so I think it's really great that you're seeing it from all these different touch points. And actually that leads me to my next question, which is what would be some of the challenges that Epicor has faced so far when it comes to the customer experience journey or providing customer service?
Well, to unpack it a little bit further, as I mentioned, Epicor is a 50-year-old company that has been a patchwork of integrations through acquisition. And when you have all sorts of data repositories, different disparate systems, and you're trying to bring that together, trying to merge all of that, or whether it's staying siloed for certain reasons, it really has an impact on how you as an organization are effective and efficient, and how that efficiency or lack thereof can actually impact the customer experience. Okay, so in looking at the different lines of business and saying, okay, how do we go ahead and bring this all together and have one single unified customer experience? You know, one of the slides that you previously showed had to do with that quote, which had to do with loyalty, and it had to do with reducing customer effort. And customers these days, looking historically at Net Promoter Score, for example, was all about the likelihood of recommendation, right? What's the likelihood that you'll recommend our products or services, right? Well, that NPS question of old, is what I call it, is no real measure of loyalty, right? It actually is the amount of effort that you're expending as a customer or consumer with an organization that determines your loyalty or not.
Yeah, absolutely. I even think about some of the ways that I try to seek service or work with, pick a brand or pick a product or whatever it might be. I'm always trying to choose the path of least resistance, right?
Right.
And in a way, we're also thinking about the way we purchase, the way we make decisions now in business, a lot of the ways we want to do it are similar to how we do it in our personal lives. So there has to be some sort of convenience factor and effortless factor included, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned also earlier that you had a lot of legacy systems that you had to figure out how to work with. And so how has ServiceNow helped with that, with Epicore's needs, and how does it fit within your current technology stack?
Right. Well, first of all, ServiceNow has been one of our greatest technology investments that we've made here within Epicore from a customer service management solution. And I think what's most important to understand about customer service, and again, that when we put customer as a prefix, whether it's customer service or success or experience or advocacy or whatever, it's very important to understand that customer service isn't just a department. Customer service isn't just a team. It is a skill. Customer service is a skill that everybody in the organization should possess. And so in one of your previous slides where you showed like the analyst or agent on that front end, and then that myriad of components on the back end that were all kind of mixed together, all of those, whether they are customer facing or not externally, have internal customer facing components. They have to have that customer service element. So CSM, customer service management, from a solution perspective, has helped us not only from an agent engagement perspective to unify how our agents and analysts engage with our customers on technical solutions. We're now incorporating CSM into how are we bringing other lines of business into that customer service management solution to improve processes, and into, as you mentioned in your previous slides, into introducing workflow in ways to create efficiencies.
Yeah, and actually that's, it's interesting. I would love to hear, you mentioned in some of our earlier conversations that you've had customer service management for about 6 years, and you joined around 3 years ago. So I'd be curious to know, how has your use of customer service management evolved? And what are some of the type of workflows that you've designed with them?
This is really exciting to share with everybody. So when I began here at Epicore about 3.5 years ago, a business problem was presented, which was, how long does it take from the time a customer places an order with us as a software vendor and as a cloud solution provider in the market? How long does it take to provision that environment? And we had our thoughts and ideas. But those thoughts and ideas were they were way off compared to reality. It actually was much longer than we really fully believed or really understood. So what we did was we brought the team together and understanding, okay, well, what is the process workflow? And surprisingly, there really wasn't any documented process workflow. It was to be real, honest about it. These were manual reports that were being run out of these legacy systems. They were being distributed to nested distribution lists upon nested distribution lists. And there was no operational insight to where we were in the process at all. And when we identified what that customer journey was, what was it that took place from order entry to cloud provisioning, we realized that we could use the workflow functionality to assign tasks to those respective lines of business, and then we could operationally observe where we were, follow the bouncing ball per se, in that workflow. And as we went ahead and went live with our first process workflow in that provisioning exercise, we reduced the provisioning process nearly 80 to 85%. And it's been an extremely effective and, more importantly, positive customer experience. Now, as that snowball effect comes and you're like, okay, now we got to do this product and this cloud product and this one, as that has continued to grow, then the creativity grows. Well, then the enhancements grow. Then it's more integration. It's more automation. And here's the best part. This wasn't just about getting that order to provisioning. This was about taking it further and saying what other teams that have never been exposed to ServiceNow and CSM can now integrate, like sales, like consulting, like education, and our customer success program that we now onboard fully all cloud customers, which has never taken place. We use the ServiceNow solution to communicate with our customers, to thank them for the order that they've placed, to welcome them with formal information about where they can find useful information, how they can get prepared, and what to expect going forward. And so the workflow wasn't just order to provisioning, it's order to fully onboard. And now our customers are experiencing a firm foundation with a positive experience from all the relative lines of business at Epicor, and we're all on the same page.
I love how you've been able to bring all these departments on board, because you made that point earlier, right? It's all of these different touch points, all of these different interactions, and customer service is a skill, and everyone across the board that's doing any type of work for a customer needs to have that skill. And I think that it's amazing that you've been able to bring all of these teams together for this onboarding, this process. So I think it's amazing. And we also I talked a little bit earlier about self-service as being one of the key ways to really accelerate time to resolution. And I think you started touching on that a little bit. So we talked a little bit about Wayfinder that you have as a self-service option for your customers. Can you expand a little bit of what you do with that?
Sure. So at Epicor, our service portal is got a nice name called Epicare, and that's how our customers engage with us on their technical requests. And from a relationship standpoint, you know, the first person a customer is normally engaged with is their salesperson, account manager, or their rep, whatever you want to call it. And that person, as that first point of contact, tends to be the single point of contact for all types of issues going forward when it comes to anything that might not be technical. So Wayfinder was our creative solution of what we called of engaging our customers on all of those types of requests that they have with Epicor that were technically, or not technically, but that were normally going to the account rep, sitting in email inboxes, sitting in voicemail message systems. And we could actually, once again, turn to our ServiceNow solution of customer service management through those catalog item requests and create an entire front-facing, customer-engaging area to say, oh, do you have a billing question? We'll get you in the shortest path of least resistance to billing. Do you have an invoicing question? Do you have, do you not know who your account manager is? All of these types of things that were getting lost, or let's say delayed to getting answers, were further frustrating to our customers. And Wayfinder, just to share with the audience, took 96,000 of these requests since we've created it and got them in the hands of the right people at the right time in order to improve their experiences. So that too is part of the solution, that we're helping the other lines of business using the same solution with the same technology, the same talent, and the same tools.
96,000. That's massive. I think what's great is that now customers are able to really submit work or requests directly to the right teams, right? We talked about how a lot of the experts that can solve a lot of these critical problems really sit in the middle office. It's not something that agents are able to resolve right then and there. And so that usually gets submitted to someone in the middle office to help them. And so the fact that you've been able to have Wayfinder now in place to help customers out and also make sure that things don't get lost, through telephone or whatever it might be, I think is absolutely commendable. I mean, 96,000, that number is going to stick with me here.
And it separates the technical from the non-technical work in our industry, where we're providing software support, where those requests that were going to the agent through the case management or ticketing system that we have at Epicor, I'm not going to say they were noise, I'm not going to say that they didn't get responded to, but the priority was really getting our customers' technical problems solved. And so these non-technical issues needed to be directed and made more efficient for our customers. And the solution, through using the CSM catalog and the tasks and the workflows, we have improved alerts, we have internal service level targets of response and resolution, and those types of things give operational insight into the business that create a baseline. And once you have a baseline created, then you go ahead and look at how can we improve the process? How do we lean it? How do we shorten the time? How do we further integrate? How do we further automate? And more importantly, how do we then go from good to great? How do we go from better to best?
That's great. And I think that's part of continuously having an open mind and being able to assess and optimize those processes over and over again, especially as the company continues to grow, as customers continue their journey with you, as customer experience expectations evolve over time. We always have to keep tweaking and perfecting. So thank you. And I think one more piece of advice we would love from you. What would you recommend for this audience to look for as they continue their journey, as based on your journey with customer experience?
I think one of the most important things to understand is that a lot of feedback, a lot of knowledge, a lot of understanding of our customers' experience has already been received. You don't need to run yet another survey that delays your progress towards, resolving customer experiences or making them better. So I don't like to discount the survey aspect or the feedback component, but there's a lot of homegrown knowledge within your employee base, your staff, within your existing customers, the ones that may be more vocal or the ones that may be silent, but you've never engaged with them, and telling you where the improvements need to be made. Find out where those low-hanging fruit components are with large impacts, and walk with your customer. Experience that journey. Take shoulder to shoulder with them. Say, this is what I did. I picked up the phone, or I used your website, and I couldn't find what I needed, or I was on hold for whatever, or I walked into your store and nobody greeted me. And those types of things are important to listen to. So you don't have to boil the ocean. You just need to find a particular part of that customer journey and go after it first. Okay? You don't need to tackle 100 things. Tackle those things, those one or two that, as I shared in my story, you do it once, then you can repeat that. You can reuse some of the solutions, and then you can also uncover and discover, where major improvements need to be had. The other thing I want to share with everybody, and I'd be remiss if I didn't, is I always tell my audiences that if you take your title, whatever it is, put a comma after it and write customer experience, it will change the way you view your job. And so, as I mentioned before, customer service and customer success does not reside in one title, nor one team or one group. It's everyone's responsibility. So put customer experience after your title. Make sure that you understand you are part of the sum total of all customer relationship touch points that your customers are having with your brand.
I love those two pieces of advice. Walk in your customer's shoes, add customer experience to your title. Maybe we'll see a lot of LinkedIn updates after this. But I think it's important, right? It reminds you that the customer is really at the center of everything that you do, right? And I think that having everyone bought in to participate in creating amazing, effortless customer experiences is really important. So thank you, Chris, for sharing your story with us. I'm certain that the audience here found it inspirational and learned some great tips to help them along with their journeys as well. And for those of you who are currently ServiceNow customers using our customer service management product in your business, we'd love for you to leave a review on g2.com and share your story. Just as we did here today, we learn a lot from our peers, and this is another great way to share your story in a quick 5 to 10 minutes out of your day and help others that are going through similar situations navigate their way to leveraging ServiceNow and to best serve their customers. So thank you for that. So we're going to hand it over now to Q&A and see if there are a few questions here. Myself, Brittany, and Chris are still on the line. So if you have questions for any of us, whether it's for Chris, who just shared a great story today, whether it's for myself or for Brittany, please enter them in that Q&A box that you see on your panel there. We may not be able to get to all of them today, but we'll make sure for those questions that we don't get to, that we will follow up with you. So definitely keep them coming in.
I do see one, Ajda.
Yeah.
One came in from Rajiv Mehta, and he asks, does routing thousands of requests create bottlenecks in functional silos? It's a really great question, Rajiv. And what we've experienced is, in the short, is the answer is no, because the bottlenecks actually occurred with our account management team or with the technical team already. The bottlenecks were already there, okay? So now that we can separate them out into the appropriate silos has actually removed the bottlenecks that existed and gotten them in the hands of what I like to say is the shortest path of least resistance. The customer can also see where that task has been, is in their list of work that they've submitted to Epicor. So it's a really fantastic solution that we've been able to use across multiple lines of business.
Fantastic. Yes, absolutely. I think if anything, it removes the bottlenecks, right? And that's really what we want, to remove, whether it's human bottlenecks or even process bottlenecks. We want to identify those and continue to optimize so that things are more streamlined. So I'm glad that you've mentioned that and mentioned it in your story. Another question that's come in here. So with digital transformation efforts in full swing at most organizations, in what ways is it possible to make work easier and connect teams better? So yeah, very relevant for today. And I think those are the main objectives. It's how do we make technology work for us to make work easier, and how do we break down those silos to connect teams better? And I think a lot of it comes down to alignment and really making sure you bring those people, processes, and systems together. You'll probably hear that a lot from ServiceNow, but that's really what creates a system of action, as we talked about earlier. So automating those mundane tasks. Oh, go ahead, Chris. You had a comment.
Yeah, Aja, in talking about like siloed departments and silos as a term and in lines of business, and you see these visuals of, people need to stop working, in their silo. Personally, those silos are always going to be there. Those departments are always going to exist. If you think about those vertical silos, What brings them together are the horizontal lines that go through them all. The horizontal systems, the horizontal processes, the horizontal workflows are what knits silos to work better together. It's not that you need to collapse and say no silo, right? You know, silos are good. It brings people to the specialties and the expertise that they need. It's what's the common thread are those systems, those processes and workflows that those silos depend upon.
Right. Yes, that is true. And I think that if everyone can use their specialty in a way that complements each other and then therefore works together well to serve the customer, that's where indeed, that's where we're trying to get to, that horizontal connectedness. And I think there's also ways where you can use technology to help provide more visibility to each of the teams, to help provide some sort of structure and steps that need to take place so that all the teams can work better together. One feature that we have in our agent workspace and in ServiceNow in customer service management is the use of playbooks. So I think about those times, for example, when my parents or a coach or a mentor would walk me through a challenging situation, and it's almost like I had a playbook for dealing with a real life situation, right? So think about adding a playbook into your technology to guide you through certain processes, to give visibility to all those teams that are working on their part to solve the request, and that can guide you through those steps and also let you know when the estimated time to resolution is. And I think having those types of structured processes in place that provide visibility, but also can be flexible and move and grow with you as your company grows is important. Because then everyone has visibility into what needs to happen, where the case stands, including the customer. They can also have visibility into where things are at a certain point in time. And I think that is game changing. So really using technology to your advantage to guide everyone involved through the necessary steps, provide everyone visibility, and also allow companies to really focus on high value work by automating those routine tasks that come in and that can be taken care of through technology. Chris, we have another one for you.
All right.
How did you get departmental alignment on improving the order to onboarding process that you described? Change management.
Good question. You know, I'll tell you, it wasn't very difficult because the problem was made aware. The business problem was made known. It was a poor customer experience. And when we started to unpack the process itself and the workflow itself, everybody agreed, yeah, we need this. And it only brought more people into the conversation and dialogue in the future to say, hey, how can I be a part of this workflow too? We want to be part of this, whether it was a consulting engagement, because once they get their environment provision, the consultant needs to do a readiness call. And then our education team said, hey, we need to be part of this workflow too, because we need to also improve our experience with introducing the customer to education and then onboarding itself. So it wasn't very difficult because the problems, like I said, we already know what they are. We just need to go ahead and tackle it, right?
Yeah.
And I will say the other thing is a lot of companies will say that they are customer service centered or customer focused or customer centric. And Epicor lives, breathes that mantra every day from the highest levels, from our CEO, Steve Murphy, all the way through our executive ranks, all the way down to every employee. And I'm not just saying that. We literally take that seriously with over 5 years of improved customer satisfaction because our customers have experienced it. They've seen it. They've witnessed the change. And they know that some things aren't going to be a light switch and they're going to take some time to improve. And we tell them we're aware of it and we're going to make those improvements going forward.
That I think actually leads into the next question that I see pop up here, which is about proactive service. So why is proactive service an essential part of customer experience and what is its impact on ROI and CSAT. And what I might do is take a quick stab at this on my end, but Chris, I'd love to have you shed some light on this as well. I think there was a time when companies wouldn't be aware of issues until a customer brought it up. And I think that's often because service was sort of an afterthought. But imagine how frustrating that would be for a customer to have to report it and then have to wait and call back for a status update. I mean, it's not a good experience. And the truth is, to a point you just made, is that customers understand that things will go bump in the night. Things might happen, things can go wrong, but they want to know that you're already on top of it, right? So we help you proactively monitor your customers' products and services so that when things do go wrong, your teams can jump to resolve the issue before a customer may even know that something happened. But also you can just notify those impacted customers on their preferred channels and keep them updated on the status rather than them having to reach out to you. So that saves a lot of time, a lot of effort, if you will. And I think that transparency and proactiveness delivers a degree of trust that customers can count on you. And that's what builds that long-term loyalty, that long-term satisfaction, and really helps the ROI grow. And now, Chris, I'd love to hear your perspective on this as well, because you were starting to touch on that a bit.
Yeah, the history and the evolution of traditional reactive support to proactive support has been one it's been around for 20 years or more, actually. And it is something that whether you're doing it today or not is something that you're going to say to yourself, okay, how do we get in front of customers going through these bumps in the night? So whether it is improving self-service mechanisms, whether that's a knowledge base, whether that's adding a specific conduit or channel in your organization that opens up lines of communication, whether it's providing more training, education, that's a fundamental foundation that needs to take place, at least in the technology industry as well. Foundationally, how do we get our customers to be more proactive in saying, okay, we want you to attend this webinar, this useful session on this particular function or feature? That proactive aspect of it is putting that creative mindset to say, how do we make the customer not the best user of support? I want this customer to be the best user of our products. I want them to be the best user of our services, not the best user of our portal. Right? Yeah, those things will come. Those things will come, right? You'll have to have the portal, you have to have the website, you'll have to have your knowledge base, and you might have chat, and you might have AI and machine learning and all these fantastic buzzwords. But the fundamental piece is, are you doing that in response to your customer, or are you doing that to get ahead of what their needs are?
Yeah. And I think if our customers are finding more creative ways to use our solutions, we want to hear that, right? That's where innovation comes. And so I think that in any way, shape, or form, like being proactive with them, but also learning from them, but then learning from you as well, and being more engaged will foster that growth. So I think that's really incredible. I think we have time for one more question. Brittany, this one came up that I think would be a great one if you don't mind answering.
Sure.
In your demo, you showed a little bit around order management. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's great. We've actually had a couple of questions come in. So order management is a feature that has just recently been brought into customer service. And what that means is that agents themselves now, instead of having to create a case and pass this off to somebody else in the business, customer service agents themselves are able to capture orders, to manage and fulfill those orders, and support all parts of order management workflows. And that's really exciting because that, like I said, it kind of brings that timeline down from initial order to fulfillment. If there's any issues along the way, they can kind of efficiently and accurately perform actions on these orders. We've also had a question come in from somebody else, woman named Amanda, asking, with major cases, how easy is it to convert an existing case into a child case? And that's a really great question. And the answer is it's pretty easy. So you want to be somebody, a user with that customer service management role. And what you can do is within that major case, you have your child case related lists and that option to add those child cases. And when you go in there, you can actually do a search of all of your existing cases. And you can filter that down, narrow it down to the cases that you're interested in. And from that list, select one or more, or however many of cases that you want to add that are effective, and add that within that pop-up and click save. Now, when you do that, you can also add any work notes or any activity log items for that parent case when you add or even remove those cases. There's a couple of really great service docs on our website that you can reference, so take a look and check that out.
That's fantastic. Yes, I know that major case management or major issue management is a fundamental need to save time, but also make sure that whenever a major case is updated, all child cases get updated and synced up, and all customers on those also receive updates and notifications from that. So I think it's definitely a great way to bring everyone together and make sure that these issues get resolved fast, but also agents can be more productive as a result because they're only having to update that major case. So that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Brittany. And I believe we are running out of time. So we will make sure to follow up with all the rest of the questions that have come in today. So thank you for submitting those, and our product teams will definitely be following up with you. And well, again, thank you, Brittany, for your fabulous demo, Chris, for joining us today and sharing Epicore's story with us and some of your personal views as well on what's disrupting the customer experience industry and how we can all do better. And for more content like this, everyone, please check out our on-demand webinars on the ServiceNow website. We have plenty of them coming on board, so definitely make sure to check it out. And I believe this will also be posted there if you want to share it with your colleagues. So thanks again, and until next time.